Um, so I want to tell you guys a story about uh, an interesting thing and a big mistake I had in my life. So when I grew up, I used to read a lot of books, and those books are typically helping you to hide from reality. Um, if the world that surrounds you is harsh and brutal, and no one is helping you in that, then I think um, the natural reaction from your mind point of view is trying to protect you, is trying to hide the reality from you. By the way, that's part of the reason why we so easily lie to ourselves, because when our brain is facing something that cannot that will be very damaging to us to acknowledge, then our brain is brilliant to lie about it, and it's just natural thing to us. Our brain is here to protect us. So when I was a kid, I used to read a lot of books, like those type of books that fantasy, science fiction, anything that's just not reality, and that just gives you the that helps you to take your imagination to a different world, and just deny what's here in this real world. And I think this approach, by the way, probably that's part of the reason why I ended up in technology. If you're a technology person, if you work in a technology, you usually work with directly you're working with computers. Indirectly, you're still working with humans. That's what most technology people don't understand. But directly on a daily basis, you are just punching the keyboard, and this is something that again helps you to avoid reality. And I also remember that just by having this mentality while I grew up, um, you basically you maintain a somewhat of a split personality. One because you have one personality which is required to survive in this world. Like when you want to travel, you want to use public transportation. You have to buy a ticket. So you know the rules. You know how to get around, but you're really not living in this world. You have your own world that you developed and you feel comfortable with, and it's when you have this split personality, it's so easy to criticize the real world. And I have to admit I made that mistake many times in my life. Like I always thought that this world is going to the wrong direction. I don't know if you guys saw the movie called Idiocracy. If you haven't seen it, then please check it out. It's the basic concept is very fun and entertaining, and the movie is about the theory that the way how humans evolve and how society evolves as of today, based on the past few decades of experience, is that we are getting dumber, we are getting stupider, we are getting more and more ignorant, and we just entertain ourselves, and so basically we're going towards the stupidity, and we're getting more and more stupid. And I think this is something we can all agree to and we can experience in our lives. Like if you look at, and we can blame a lot of things about this, like media and entertainment and reality TVs and cheap jokes and kitten and Facebook. And there are so many things we can blame about it. But obviously, I was not a fan of this progress. And I used to complain about it a lot, while I hoped that the world that I dreamed about, that what I had in my mind, uh, eventually, I don't know what I hope, by the way. It's really bizarre, because I knew that I was not satisfied with the real world, and I knew that if I would create a world that will be totally different, like politicians would have meaningful conversations, and the advertisement will be not about only about emotion, but also about information, and things would actually have meaning, and there will be high philosophical debates about certain stuff that will be very exciting. Actually, our brain will be challenged on a daily basis. So that's what I hope. That will be the world that I would enjoy to live in. Um, And this is just not the world that we live in, right? So today everything is about entertainment and comfort, and just don't use your brain, just follow and consume and stuff like that. And because of this, I was pretty much rejecting reality, not just because of my childhood, that also obviously made a pretty solid foundation to this mindset. But as I grew older and as I saw more of the world, I just couldn't accept, this world. Like, I don't know, guys, your experience, but for Facebook is a brilliant tool in terms of we can hate Facebook, but it's a pretty good platform to see what people are like. Uh, and and if you look at the kitten images and etc., you would hope that when you get this platform where you can have a meaningful discussion with everybody, then this would turn out to be a beautiful experiment where people are sharing thoughts and stuff like that. And to be honest, it turned out totally the opposite. Like, we are not having discussions. We are, tribalism is there. I usually, in the echo chamber, usually talk about people that are pretty much agreeing with you. People don't want to, challenge their brain anymore. Probably that was not the case even in the past. But anyway, I hope that, we could evolve to there at some point. People are spending the majority of their time by looking at stupid memes, which are, by the way, absolutely funny. I'm not doubting that. I enjoy those too. And looking at funny pictures, just don't think, just entertain. So basically, masturbation 24/7. You have to masturbate 24/7. You don't want to do anything that requires a minimal amount of energy. So that's what we turned into, right? And what I saw, that I always rejected this world. Like, I didn't like it, and I said, okay, I'm not going to join Facebook. I reject Facebook. I'm not going to join LinkedIn. I'm not going to use this and that, and I will be privacy aware. And I will go against the mainstream of dumbing down each other and dumbing down ourselves. And I will just, at one point there will be, and I don't know why I did that, but I think in deep you hope or you desire that at some point there will be a revolution where this crazy dumb world just collapse, and then there will be a new world where people would start to think again. That's what I hoped, or something like that. I don't know. I never really went so far to define exactly how I feel about this, but I knew that I'm not accepting the world we live in, because it's just not it's something that I cannot relate to be honest. And uh, the interesting turn in this story came when a friend of mine just told me, we had this argument when I was complaining about something, like, okay, I don't understand why this is why people are reacting to this stupid thing, like why people are not using their brain, etc. I was having this outrage as always. And for some reason, I don't know, he made a very good point, and I just had this striking moment where I was like, I think he said that there are no two worlds, only one world. And you can hate it, but it's not going to change the fact that that's it. That's our reality. And that I know it sounds obvious and very stupid and simple, but to me that was a turning point, because then I realized that he's absolutely right. Like, I can live my life being angry at the world as it is, because it's not smart enough, because people are lazy, because people are simple and they don't want to do anything. They just want to masturbate. I can be mad at this, but it only hurts me. It only Because I'm not going to change the world. I cannot change the world. I cannot change people. That's never going to happen. And even though the only possible outcome of this is that I get a heart attack. That's all. That's the only possible outcome of this. So, and this to me, that was a realization. Like, okay, I know this would not be my ideal world, but what can you do? Like, this is the only world. And when I was trying to say that, in my mind I had two worlds. I had my own perfect world in my mind, and I thought that probably I can have this at least at my locality with my near friends and stuff. And then you can have the crazy, mentally insane world for yourself. I don't want to participate. And I realize this is just another lie that I'm telling myself, because there are no two worlds. My world that I was hoping for, that I idealized, just doesn't exist. There is only one world. There is only one world, and you have to live in that world, and you have to be there in that world and learn how to get around in that world. And if you want to be successful, then you have to. So yeah, that was my pretty much my huge realization about just forget this denial and just accept reality, even if it's dumb. That's what we have. Um, yeah, that was pretty weird, and I think it was a good point for me, because at that point I realized, okay, I'm going to participate. I'm going to do it, even though I hate it. I might try to enjoy it. I might give a try to accept it and try to enjoy it or use it. And The reason why I'm telling you this story, guys, because if you are in a similar situation when you have your own mindset or your own world, and you just hate this world for many, many reasons, my advice is that it's not a good path. And I've been there, I've done that, and it leads you nowhere. It's really a dead end, because there are no two worlds, only one world. So you have to start using this existing world, and use it to your own advantage. You find your own path, and try to survive in this world, because there are no two worlds. That's a lie that you're telling yourself. So that was my story, guys. Interesting thing. I know it sounds obvious to those of you who had noticed split personality, but if you are one of those guys who I was talking about, like myself, then it's not obvious at all. Like you're really fighting it until you can, but then you realize it leads to nowhere. So what can you do? So that's it, guys. There's only one world. Try to make your own path in that world, and try to find your own voice, and try to make the most out of it as much as possible. The world is not perfect. The world is pretty crap, but there is no other world, only this one. By the way, this will lead me to another interesting video about being obsessed with perfection, and this is something that I have. I hate it, and I'm trying to fight it all the time, because there's no perfection nowhere, and not around us, not within us, not in our thoughts. If you look at a mirror, etc., etc., you will find flaws all the time. So this is something that's also quite damaging to myself when I'm like that level when I'm obsessed at that level with perfection. But anyway, let that be a different story. I just wanted to give you guys this experience that I had and what I learned. See you guys.